Today we're talking about the A-level PE EAPI in terms of the strengths and weaknesses section. Hopefully you've already watched the overview that I've done with the EAPI. You might be a teacher and you are looking to help your students in this section, or you might be a student looking to gain as much information, as much insight as you can to maximise your marks of this EAPI process, okay? 15% of our overall coursework that's divided into two sections. We've got the strengths and weaknesses, which this video is specifically on, and then we've got the development plan, which I've done another video on as well. As always, we want to maximise marks specifically in this coursework. This is so important to us. Please, please, please subscribe to the channel. You will get updates and you will get instant notifications of further videos that come on, and any comments as always below. Now we're going to look at these 5 sections. We're going to look at the basics, we're going to look at skills, we're going to look at tactics, and we're going to look at fitness, and then we're going to look at key things to remember. So by now, hopefully you already have a good overview of what is required from you of the EAPI. So this is an oral presentation. You are coming into a room, you are watching a brand new video in your chosen sport. You are watching a performance, you are looking to make strengths and weaknesses, and you are looking to come up with a development plan. And then you are scribing for those 20 minutes, and then you have up to 30 minutes to give your response. When we look at the basics, what we're going to try and do in this video is basically fill this table in. And this table shows us that when we're looking at a performer, we're going to look for skills, tactics, and fitness elements. With each one that we choose, we're going to have to identify and say what we've seen. We're going to look at where we've seen this within the performance on the video. And the key here is that we need to be really specific. We've almost got to refer to what minute we've seen it in. And then look to say how this affects the overall success of the performance, either as a team or then what actually happened in the video subsequent to what, again, skills, tactics, or fitness-wise that we're looking at. It's really important to point out that if we are looking at a team performance, we have to choose one individual player to look at. We're not allowed to have seen this video before. We're not allowed to have seen this performance before. So what we've got to try and do is come up with a bank of options that we might be able to talk about, feel confident with discussing lots of different skills, tactical and fitness elements, and then we can adapt and apply to the video that we are watching during our exam. So we're moving on to the skills first. This is where we want to start off. If we look at skill classification, we're looking at, therefore, a skill that will fit on one of these continuums, a skill that can be learned. And first off, we need to make a list of possible skills within our sport. We've got what is called core and advanced skills. And to help you out, if you were to put this link or type it out into Google, it will come up with the specification of what is required skill-wise within your sport. This is a fantastic place to start, but of course there will probably more than is on this list. So just to help you out and get you a feel for what we're on about, I've come up with some skills that can be seen readily in most netball matches. So we've got chest pass, shoulder pass, bounce pass, overhead pass, footwork in terms of basic footwork or more advanced in terms of running pass, interceptions, shooting both long and short range, pivoting, the advanced of that might be that we see turning in the air, feeding the ball either as a wing attack centre, handling the ball, dodging, rebounding. And there will be more than this, but ultimately I'm just trying to come up with a generic list for you from netball. Again, if you're doing football, there's going to be numerous different types of passes, the same with hockey, the same with rugby. So try not to think too generically, try to break things down as much as you can. So what we've got to do is imagine, and sometimes we should watch a video of a netball game or watch many videos and look for what we can see and come up again with a bank of resources to fill in this table. So let's say we're watching a video and we are looking at netball and we're looking at a centre. I might have identified that the centre player has really direct, accurate chest passes. Okay, so I've identified what I've seen. Where have I seen this in the performance? And I want to be really specific. So within the first 30 seconds of the video, there was a centre pass and this centre was able to send a flat, direct chest pass to the wing attack who was running out. It was put into the space so the performer was able to turn in the air. Now, how does that affect the overall success of the performance? This meant that the ball was placed away from the defender who was running out, who was trying to intercept the ball, but the pass was lovely and clear and accurate, positioned in just the right space away from the defender. That enabled the wing attack to turn quickly, so then she was able to look down court onto the goal attack and goal shooter, which then enabled a quick release and facilitated the possession down the court. Okay, now we're going to have to do one of these tables for strengths, and we're going to have to do a separate one of these tables for weaknesses. And this is where we start to identify if our candidates are strong within their chosen sport, because they'll really start to show off and show you that they understand particularly what they've seen, but more so the overall success of the performance. If we really have a weak performer, it might be that the candidate just refers to the same overall successful performance. So let's say within netball, football, rugby, any team sport, they just kept referring to this enables the team to keep possession, this enables goal scoring opportunities, this limited goal scoring opportunities. And where we'll see higher candidates flourish is they can really think more in depth about how that particular thing, whichever skill, tactic, or fitness element, and how it has maybe psychologically or in that moment that we've seen on the video help the performance or help the team. So let's say I'm doing the weaknesses of the skill. I might have identified that this centre at one point in the match, maybe around minute 5, has demonstrated footwork, been called by the umpire, and the ball has then gone to the other team. They did footwork because they dragged their foot, meaning that the back foot was scooted along the floor, and ultimately they're not allowed to do this. This affects the overall successful performance because you could see the next time in the channel of play, their own team was hesitant to give their centre a ball in that position and actually offloaded it to one of the other players, despite the centre being in a good position. And this meant that ultimately the ball was then turned over and the opposite team took the ball quickly down court for a cheap goal that was scored. So again, I'm really trying to apply it to what I've seen. That wouldn't be the case. I would have to have specifically seen that on a video that I was watching, but I'm just trying to offer you different options to how it might affect team and the depth at which we're looking at here. The second thing we've got to do is look at the tactics of the team, of that player. And if we're doing dance or maybe gymnastic activities, then we're going to look at the compositional ideas. Now, I've given you quite an overarching list here, or an overview. So I've got assertion, pressure, communication, spatial awareness, positioning, vision, anticipation or anticipating, deception, decision making, recovery, and attacking moves. But once again, what I've tried to do for you is break down more specific tactics in the game of netball. So I've got here marking, both zonal or man-to-man, quick release of the ball, feeding from the edge of a circle either as a wing attack or a centre, positioning on the centre path, do they get the right side of the defender, driving onto the ball, boxing out for rebounds, so that would be specific if you were looking at a goal defence or a goalkeeper, the use of a split landing if we're using a goal attack or a goal shooter, the use of the post, communication between various different players, maybe between the shooters, and decision making. Now, you would only really understand these tactical terms if you were quite an advanced or someone who plays netball a lot of the time. And again, this is where your understanding and your strength of the knowledge in your sport is going to excel if you can show your teacher, your examiner, that you really understand the tactics within your sport. Let's say we're talking about football, we could talk about pressing the ball, we could talk about the use of tricks or skills maybe that we see in the video. We could talk about a rugby player and their ability to get low within the tackle, or a weakness could be that they're caught offside. Any of those following that would be specific to what is appropriate in your sport. So try to show off again, and then clearly we're going back to this table and we're doing the exact same methodology. So we're identifying what tactic we have seen, we're telling them, the examiner, we're telling our teacher where we've seen it in the performance, and we're talking about the overall success to the team or of the performance. So that's tactics for us. Then we're looking finally to the fitness elements within the strengths and weaknesses section. So I've got the basics here: speed, strength, power, flexibility, aerobic endurance, muscular endurance, balance, both dynamic and static, coordination, reaction time, agility. I could break some of these down a little bit further. Let's say I was talking about a footballer, I might talk about their lower body strength. I might talk about the upper body strength. If I was looking at a gymnast, I might be able to talk about their static balance or versus their dynamic balance. If I was talking about a cricketer, I might specifically talk about their hand-eye coordination. So again, we are going to try and fill out this table. Where we have to be careful and what we need to be mindful of here, we've already identified strengths in terms of skills and tactics, and then we've gone on to talk about our weaknesses in terms of skills and tactics. So some of the fitness elements should be quite obvious to us based upon what we have talked about already. We've got to be careful that it all aligns. And then again, this is where we have to judge what we're saying off the performance that has been given to us. We're in danger if we try to pre-prepare something that we're going to contradict ourselves. And what I mean by that is that you might tell me that your footballer has really good heading ability. They're able to use the clean part of the head. They're able to get up to the ball and beat their player that they've gone 50-50 for a header for. Okay, then later on, if you go on to tell me that their lower body strength or their lower body power, their explosive power isn't very strong, that's not really going to marry up, is it? Because how have we got a performer that is excelled in heading and beating their man to the ball if they have weak lower body strength? So we've got to make sure that everything we're saying is aligned, marries up, and makes sense, which if we go off and what we have to do is apply it directly to the performer we're watching, we're going to be absolutely fine. The key things to remember, and what we've learned from moderators' feedback, what we've learned from going through the OCR courses online and face-to-face, is, as I've referred to throughout this video, you have to be specific to what you are watching and the performer that you have chosen. Otherwise, you will lose marks if in any way this comes across as generic. Refer to the minutes that you've seen things happen. Now, as we're going to be scribing away and we're going to be really note-taking quite quickly, we don't have to be too specific. You know, we've not got to know it to the second, so we can say approximately within the first 30 seconds, within the first 2 minutes, at about 5 minutes, towards the end of the video, after this particular goal was scored. All right, we want to give the examiner a good idea that, again, we're watching this and we know what we're talking about and where we're referring to the points that we've raised. Again, I've referred to this: show up the depths of your understanding. All the time we see candidates who play at such high levels almost not sell the knowledge of their sport. And that can be really frustrating, either as a student or as a teacher marking this, that really try to explore all the knowledge that you've got and show what you can do. Really key: do not follow 3 skills, 3 tactics, and 3 fitness elements. This is like the big red flag to an examiner. If you follow a 3-3-3 approach, like it rightly or wrongly, the OCR mark scheme and the examiners decide that, or you have come up with a generic response. So we need an unbalanced one. It might be that you choose 4 skills, 2 tactics, 2 fitness elements within the strengths, and then you go to your weaknesses and you look at 2 key skills, 2 key tactics, and 1 fitness element. Obviously, we still need that depth in there and we need that understanding. We might choose 1 major skill weakness, 3 tactical weaknesses, and 2 fitness weaknesses. Again, I can't give you a set figure on this. There's no right or wrong, but we just can't have a 3-3-3 approach, which many people will have stuck to, or many teachers will have stuck to previously. And again, like, it's like a big red flag. So